Show me where that incompetent loser works. The one who soured my excitement for the long-awaited reunion was Mary. She's always been mean to me, trying to get the upper hand like this. The reason is that I wasn't very good at studying during our school days. I was irritated by her holding on to that, even at 40, but at the same time, I was impressed she could remember such things. It seems Mary, who thinks I'm incompetent because I wasn't good at studying, wants to see where I work. So, after the reunion, I decided to take her to her husband's company's CEO office. She doesn't know I'm the CEO of a major company with 7,500 employees and laughs at me for not teasing her. However, when her husband came out from inside the office and explained the situation, she turned pale. And then, she regretted her past actions. My name is Robert. I'm turning 40 this year. I run a company with 7,500 employees and have recently managed to take some time off. When the company was new, I was too busy to even think about leisure, let alone attend reunions. But I've RSVP'd to the upcoming reunion. This reunion will be attended by classmates from our senior year of high school. As I looked through the yearbook to see who would be there, among all the familiar faces, there was one that made me feel a sense of aversion. That person was Mary, who used to lead our class. She was a kind of leader in our class, always in charge of organizing class events and was part of the so-called popular group. Looking at Mary's photo, I couldn't help but remember the past. I think it was sometime in our senior year. Unfortunately, I ended up surrounded by girls after a seat change. For someone like me, who enjoyed whispering with friends during class, it wasn't exactly the best environment. Then, an incident happened. That day, my close friend was absent, and I was eating lunch alone. Surrounded by groups of girls at the surrounding desks, I felt slightly uncomfortable as I popped a side dish into my mouth. Hearing the beautiful chirping of birds from outside, I instinctively wanted to see the view and looked up towards the window. At that moment, I made eye contact with a girl nearby. That girl was Mary. "Hey, what are you looking at? You were just staring at my chest, weren't you?" I was just trying to look outside." "What? Are you saying I misunderstood?" "No, it's not like that, but..." For some reason, she was convinced I was looking at her chest and kept accusing me throughout lunch break. Moreover, her voice carried across the classroom, turning the suspicion into a source of cold stares from classmates. No matter how much I tried to explain, Mary seemed determined to paint me as a bad guy. Eventually, the classmates' misunderstanding was cleared, but that was the start of the harassment from Mary and her friends. "There you go looking my way again. It's creepy, so stop it." "I told you, I'm not looking at you." "Sure you're not." Accusations like these were frequent, and sometimes they'd even hide my textbooks. My classmates and friends always came to my rescue, but Mary never stopped her harassment. In fact, her anger only grew when she saw I had support, escalating her behavior. For example, she'd write fake love letters to call me out, only to ridicule my earnest waiting, or she'd give me a different meetup location for a class party. Luckily, I was supposed to go to the party with a friend, so I managed to get to the right location. Mary didn't stop her harassment until we graduated. I have completely forgotten about her after graduation, but it seems she'll also be attending this reunion. Despite a slight sense of dread, I was looking forward to seeing my old classmates after such a long time. 1 month after receiving the invitation, the day of the reunion finally arrived. Having finished important work the day before, I was ready to fully enjoy the reunion today. With a mix of nervousness and excitement, I headed to the venue for the reunion. This time, it seems there are many attendees, so a slightly more upscale venue was chosen. The plan was to use a luxury hotel as the venue, with a participation fee of $100 per person, which is a bit on the higher side. But at 40, most people can afford that amount without much trouble. I took the elevator to the designated floor and checked a guide board. Upon arriving, I handed an envelope containing a participation fee to a classmate at the reception and entered the venue, where several people had already arrived. Looking around, I immediately spotted Mary. Wanting to avoid her as much as possible, I tried to move to the edge of the room, but unfortunately, I seemed to have caught her eye. Noticing me, Mary happily hurried over. "I never thought you'd attend the reunion. Did you actually pay the fee?" "It's been a while. I just handed it over at the reception." "Really? You probably had someone else pay for you." "I paid with my own wallet, actually." Right from the start, Mary was throwing snide remarks my way. I thought she might have matured at 40, but she's just the same as she was in school. My faint hope that we might get along now was dashed, and with a slightly slumped shoulder, I decided to go get a drink. I headed for the drinks to shake off Mary, but somehow, she followed me. She then started asking various things, like what job I'm doing now and how much money I have. "Hey, where do you work now?" "Well, you can't say, can you? My husband, you see, works at a major corporation and is incredibly handsome." Stumbling over my words, Mary took it as a sign that I worked somewhere unmentionable and began boasting about her husband. They met at a mixer and got married quickly. She can live on her husband's salary alone, so Mary became a homemaker. And now, they're blessed with 2 children and living a comfortable life. Well, I'm not like you, a poor person. Poor person? Yeah, you were never good at studying back in school. That was decades ago, wasn't it? It seems Mary still remembers my struggle with studies and teases me about it. While I'm irritated that she's still hung up on it even at 40, I can't help but admire her memory for such things. Mary, who has always been called pretty, had grades similar to mine, yet her self-esteem is quite high. It would be fine if it was just high self-esteem, but it's troubling because she tries to put others down to lift herself up. The classmates seemed to hear Mary's voice, visibly frowning, but she didn't care and kept bad-mouthing me. As the reunion went on, I enjoyed catching up with old friends, but towards the end, Mary cornered me again. "Show me where that incompetent poor person works." "My workplace." "Yeah, you must be free after this, right? Take me there." She seems to still want to look down on me. I hesitated a bit, but it would be annoying to leave her with the wrong impression, so I decided to take her to my workplace. "All right, meet me in front of the hotel after the reunion is over." "I'm looking forward to it. You're probably working in some rundown building, right?" Later, Mary and I met in front of the hotel and took a taxi to my workplace. My office is in a prime location in downtown. As the taxi got closer to downtown, Mary began to get restless. When I got out of the taxi in front of a certain building, she started looking around nervously. "Where's your workplace?" "Right here. This building in front of us." "This building is your workplace. Oh, I get it. You must be working as a cleaner or security guard here, right?" Seeing the sizable building, Mary, perhaps flustered, started talking under the assumption that I was dispatched there rather than working there. "But I am the CEO who manages this entire building, and I need her to know that." I interrupted Mary's speech to tell her the truth. "You might want to deny it, but I'm the CEO of the company in this building." "Well, what? CEO? I could believe you're an employee, but CEO is stretching it too far." "Is it? I started this company from scratch about 10 years ago and became the CEO." "Don't lie. There's no way you could be a CEO. Show me some proof." When Mary demanded proof that I was the company's CEO, I pulled out my business card holder from my pocket. I carefully extracted a business card and presented it to her with both hands. Mary took the business card from me and scrutinized the text as if she could bore holes through it. See, it clearly says CEO. Does this convince you? I won't believe it just because of this. Anyone can forge a business card. Why are you so unwilling to accept that I'm the CEO? Because you were never stand out in high school, not smart, and someone like that being more successful than me. It seems she doesn't want to admit I'm the CEO because she can't bear the thought of me being more successful than her. I don't think being a CEO necessarily means I'm successful, but I do believe I'm happier than someone who is constantly concerned about social standing, pride, and status like her. Mary looked at the business card again and seemed to realize something. This company, come to think of it, it might have the same name as the company where my husband works. Turns out, the husband Mary had been bragging about works at my company. Still, it's thought she only has a vague memory of the name of the company her husband works for. What kind of conversations do they have regularly? Setting that aside, I decided to ask for more details. From the industry and company name she mentioned, and after hearing about the nature of the work, it was almost certain her husband worked at my company. So, my husband works under you. That's impossible. If that's true, it would be quite ironic. Ironic? What's so funny about it? The fact that you've been looking down on me all this time. My frustration built up over time made me say such things. Normally, I wouldn't speak ill of others or make snide remarks, but conversing with Mary disrupts my pace. Mary, provoked by my words, was trembling and clenching her fists. This might escalate into a shouting match. How should I defuse this situation? As I was pondering, someone came running out of the building. Hey, isn't that Mary? What are you doing here? The person who emerged from the building was Steve, Mary's husband. This confirmed that Mary's husband worked at my company. She awkwardly greeted Steve while looking uncomfortable. Just passing by and thought I'd stop by. Is that so? Wait, did I ever tell you where my workplace was? Well, you know, the address was on the business card. Did I give you my business card? By the way, Mary, why are you with President Williams? Steve seemed puzzled to see me with her and asked. But now that it was clear I was the CEO, she was visibly flustered. So I decided to explain everything on her behalf. Actually, your wife is my classmate, and she wanted to see where I work. You were classmates, but why your workplace? Hey, if you say any more, I won't forgive you. Your wife has been harassing me since high school, and today she wanted to see the workplace of the incompetent pool person. Hearing my words, Steve froze with a look of shock. He probably never imagined his wife would do such a thing to the CEO. Mary, realizing her misdeeds were exposed to her husband, started sweating profusely. It seems that she had not shown her true nature to Steve. She probably only showed a polished version of herself. Given that Mary was good at ingratiating herself with teachers and winning over peers since her student days, this comes as no surprise. Let me hear more about this in detail. No, what I just said was just a joke among classmates. Don't take it seriously, okay? It's no joke. Are you planning to harass me and then make excuses? Would you just shut up? It's so annoying, especially from someone as introverted as you. Faced with my persistent remarks, Mary finally raised her voice. She covered her mouth in shock, but it was already too late. Steve seems to have developed a distrust towards Mary. In high school, Mary had a few boyfriends whom she switched between, but eventually, her true nature was exposed, and they broke up with her. The same might happen this time. She seemed to realize this, looking at Steve with a frightened expression. Come to think of it, Mary mentioned she had become a housewife. If they were to talk about divorce now, it would surely lead to a massive confrontation. However, Steve did not immediately suggest divorce, but he seemed unable to forgive his wife for being rude to me and said this: "Mary, I'm disappointed in you. I thought you were a good wife. I didn't do anything. It's true. Believe me, not this person." There's no way he would lie. Besides, actually, the kids have come to me with some concerns too. Concerns about what? It seems the kids have also noticed Mary's unpleasant character and have discussed it with their father, Steve. Considering the numerous troubles she has caused at the kids' school, they are under a lot of stress. From dominating conversations among mothers to demanding preferential treatment for her child from teachers, I couldn't help but nod as Steve told me these stories. I haven't seen Mary since our senior year of high school, but somehow, I can imagine. I had hoped you had become a better person, but it seems I was wrong. I don't have time to deal with you right now. Go away. Hey, how dare you speak to him like that? As an argument between Mary and Steve heated up, I decided to leave the scene. Staying any longer would only involve me further. I quietly slipped away, but Mary seemed not to notice at all. 3 days later, Steve came to me and updated me on the situation. Apparently, Mary loves the kids too much and unintentionally lashes out at others. And I learned that she used to be hostile towards me during our school days. Seeing me with many friends and a close family made her envious. I always thought of myself as an ordinary, unremarkable person, but it seems Mary saw me differently. Then, Steve began to express how grateful he was to me. Steve was struggling with job hunting and had no choice but to take on physically demanding work. At that time, it was me who approached Steve, who was looking downcast in the park. I suggested to him that if he was job hunting, why not work for us? Back then, we had just started the company, so we couldn't pay much, but now that the company has grown, I believe we're providing a salary that matches his abilities. I was grateful for the few employees willing to work with us in those early days, and it turns out Steve was grateful to me too. If you hadn't reached out to me back then, who knows where I'd be? I'm the one who should be thankful. You really helped me out by accepting my offer. When I told my wife about it, she stopped arguing. So, have you made up? When I asked this, Steve shook his head yes. I can forgive Mary for the harassment, but maybe she had her own issues and conflicts. It just so happened that I was the target of her harassment at the time. Mary still sulks at times, but she seems to have a keener expression than before. And then, for some reason, on Valentine's Day, Steve gave me chocolates. I was told Mary was the one who sent the chocolates, and I was quite surprised. Why would Mary give me chocolates? Maybe it's her way of apologizing. Please do accept them. An apology. Then I have no choice but to accept. With that, I took the chocolates that were offered. Unwrapping them, I found a letter of apology inside. Although I still dislike Mary when I attended the reunion, now I don't feel as angry. I thought it was strange to have my feelings changed by chocolates and a letter, but those two things seemed to reveal her true intentions. Mary must be a person who finds it hard to express herself honestly. As I ate the chocolates with my wife, I thought about this. Sometime after the reunion, I was back to my usual routine. It's a busy period, so I have to work overtime, but I make sure to spend time with my family. I believe the reason I'm able to stay healthy is that my wife lovingly prepares healthy meals for me. When I'm alone, I tend to eat instant noodles or fast food, but knowing that my wife is waiting at home with delicious food makes me want to work harder. Recently, she's even started making lunch boxes for me to take to work. Now that the children are a bit older, my wife seems to have more time on her hands. While enjoying my lunchbox full of love, I look over the materials. Soon, there will be a meeting about expanding overseas. Driven by the desire to make our company known worldwide, We are preparing for this international expansion. It might get busier, but that just means making more time. Even when busy, whether having dinner with my family or staying up late eating instant noodles, even when staring down documents in my computer, I feel happy. It's like I can really feel alive. Having a job to do and a family to care for is more than enough for me.